welcome back. And we're moving into our final segment for today as we find out the details of a very fun activity coming up this weekend. We have with us on set representatives of the Belize Humane Society. We have Debra Lewis, who is the president, and we have board member Inspector Brent Hamilton. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Belize Humane Society. We know obviously that you are a volunteer association who've been working tirelessly to get people to understand more about animal care, animal rights. And Debra, let's just take a little bit of time to talk about how the work has been going.
It's been going great. I mean, I think it's a sign of we're a bit of victims of our own success, I think, as people become more and more aware of the things that we do. We get more and more calls and more demands on our time and our resources, which is great because it means that we're out there getting the work done. But we could certainly use more help, so one of the things we really encourage people to do is to consider volunteering with us. We're all volunteers. I think sometimes we think some people watch too much Animal Planet. You know, they think that we have, you know, this big building and vehicles and staff. And that's not how
emergency rescue crew.
Right. So, you know, definitely we need the support of the community in the work that we do.
Yeah. Tell me about some of the things that people call you about. What are we seeing in Belize that seems to be of the biggest concern?
Well, we get a lot of calls for rescuing animals or animals that have been abandoned. So this week we've had a few cases. We have, in fact, if anyone is interested in fostering these lead dogs, it would be really great. We have two special cases this week. One was a case of it's a little dachshund, year-old. It was actually owned by someone, but the little dog had an accident. He was hit by a car, and the person just locked him up and didn't take him for any kind of care or anything else. So one of our volunteers convinced the person to surrender the dog to us. So we have him. He's a sweet little dog. He's fine, except he's got a broken front leg. So basically what he needs is 6 weeks of crate rest, so his little leg can heal. We're looking for a foster home for him, someone who can just give him a little attention, keep an eye on him, make sure he doesn't move around very much. We have another little puppy found abandoned, 2.5 months old. He has a type of mange which is contagious to other animals, so we need someone to foster him who doesn't have other animals to protect them. So we get those kinds of cases. We pull dogs out of drains because they get stuck and they're hurt and they're scared. So a lot of the work that we do, and probably the most time consuming, is the animal rescue part. We also do periodic spay and neuter clinics for people who can't maybe afford to have their animals cut, so there won't be any more unwanted puppies and kittens. We just did one a few weeks ago at the YMCA where we spayed and neutered 124 animals in 2 days. So we've spayed and neutered over the past 2 years well over 500 animals in Belize City. So it makes a huge difference. One of the things, we have a partnership with the city, with City Council, and the mayor's been really great in terms of working with us to look at how we can minimize the number of unwanted animals so that we can avoid using poison, which a lot of us know is really a horrible kind of way to do animal control. But one of the pieces of the puzzle is encouraging responsible pet ownership. Because a lot of the animals who are causing problems in our communities, the reason why they're there is because people haven't been responsible, either because they haven't spayed and neutered their pets and they're continually producing puppies and kittens, or because they let their pets out on the street, which is, by the way, illegal in Belize, although we haven't always enforced the laws the way they need to be, and that's another thing that we work on.
Oh, you can be charged for leaving your dog on the street?
Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the law said, Inspector Hamilton knows this area more than me, but the law does say that if your animal is on the street, or your dog is on the street, it must be accompanied. You cannot just open your gate and let your dog wander the neighborhood.
And that's a great way to get Inspector Hamilton into the conversation. Obviously, we know you from the K9 unit, so you know the full capabilities as to the intelligence of animals, the loyalty of these animals, specifically dogs, but we're talking animals in general. And one of the things we always try to ensure that the public knows is that as a pet owner, you have responsibilities. Go ahead and tell us what is set out in the law.
Well, we have, under the laws of Belize, we have 2 books that governs animal in a whole. We have the Dog Act, we're specifically talking about the dog. So there's a whole leap of thing in here.
There is a Dog Act.
There's a Dog Act, and then we have something correlated to Animal Act.
Okay.
Meaning discover dog, pig, horse, cow,
Cats.
Whatever. To make it easy to let someone understand, whenever you have, I will say animals, I'm addressing all animals, right? Whenever you have an animal, it is your responsibility to take care of the animal. So you can't torture, you can't hit any animal with a bat, you can't left them unattended, meaning that, like what Debra have said earlier, that you leave them just on the street wandering. Once the police know that you are the owner of that dog, you can't leave her unattended and have no food or water for the dog, because that's cruelty. You leave the dog to starve. You can't use any animal to fight. So you can't make the fight. There's a law govern that. You cannot, in the case of a dog, you cannot have a dog running down on the street without a muzzle or what we call a leash or a lead. It must be, you must have on a leash. There's a whole heap of things. No care what type of animal you have, there's a law govern that. One that is common in Belize is people having a lot of, like for what I see, a lot of dogs, and they can't maintain the dogs. And then all these lot of pups become big, and then they go to maybe another neighbor yard, or maybe they beat someone on the street, and then they create a whole lot of annoyance, and then they create a generation of reproduction, and these type of things. And then what is most affecting, that they pick up other disease like mange, distemper, other disease, and then create a whole population to be sick. So the Belize Humane Society look at those, the effort to fight to better educate people how to deal with your cats, how to deal with the dog, and etc. From the law point, any citizen in Belize, any citizen in Belize can make any report to the police station regarding any cruelty to any animal. I want to know that's their rights. The police should go out, investigate, to see that the animal is being well taken care of. If they don't have a fence, how they chain the dog, whatever, or any animal that they have, that's in our laws, they should do it. Did you know, just like still in the law in Belize, that if you have a bicycle, your bicycle should have been registered with the City Council. Did you know that also if it's a service canine, a dog that you have in your house, did you know in the laws, same town council, City Council, that your dog should have been registered?
Really?
Right? So it's in our laws. And so these things cost money to have a effective program to maintain and to have these things being registered, and everybody know, well, Marina the dog, she has 2 little poodles, and if her poodles go missing, we can if we catch someone at it, we can say, oh God, this poodle doesn't belong to you, and so forth. The police department, canine dog, they are registered as police officers, and they has a tattoo on them, so they are actually, we call them service canine. You can just have them like that. You know. So there are laws that they are in our acts, and they are right in our laws of Belize. So when we act, and the Humane Society, we act this is like our Bible, in accordance to our law.
Now, Inspector Hamilton, that's so important, because I think oftentimes people see things that they know are wrong. You know, maybe you have a neighbor who beats up on their dog. Maybe you have a neighbor who encourages dog fights or leaves their dog to wander. But they feel that, well, you know, we're not in the United States. There is no emergency rescue team or... So you can call the police.
You can call the police, and I urge people to call.
Now, what if the police just laughs in your ear and say, I don't have time for that?
Well, as a police officer myself, if I'm in my police mobile patrol and I get a call from the control room and say, there's a fighting on a such street, and then I get another call and say, there's a cruelty in an area where someone is beating their dog. The police will privatize which one they go first. Of course, if there's a shooting or there's something, it is life. So they have to value which one is more what we call a hot plate. Right? If someone registers a complaint and let's say 24 hours gone and they haven't seen the police, trust me, there's a record that a report came in, and that will make it worse is when you go down to the station and you register your complaint, and if that complaint is not being looked into, the senior officers, the supervisors, the station sergeants, whatever who is at what, they will have to still look at it because it is a legitimate complaint. It's not because you wanted to make a report, it's because the law govern us to do that.
But you have to go in and make the complaint.
You can. You
complaint. You just can't call.
The police.
Then it doesn't become a formal.
You can. There's three area that we can do. We can make a complaint. You can call in and say, hey, look, I'm on number 24 Bocotora Street. I'm just using that example. And my next neighbor. You don't have to give your name. You just your next neighbor, and there's a cruelty to some type of someone is singing a dog, and that's one. If you want to go further, for a response. If you want to go further, because by the time maybe you reach maybe by the time the police mobile come, there's another thing that is happening. The another one is going to the station itself and making a legitimate report. Right.
Getting it on record.
Get it on record. So we urge people to go in because we wanted to use it as our. I always shared my colleagues here. That we want to use as a scientific approach to see how many reports have been made to our
And
cars.
does the police get reports on cruelty to animals?
Most of the times the police get the report, like what I'm saying.
But are busy with something else.
But no, they get the report. Sometimes they get the report, but they look into the report. But like what my colleague said, it probably have not registered in a statement form. So if they get it through a radio message or through the phone lines, they will go on and check on the report, and the police will do what we call a intervention. Look here, can't get a dog or someone.
There are charges that can be brought against the person.
They will educate them about if you know this, so and so forth, and that happen.
So you can be charged, you can go to jail, you can pay a fine.
You can pay a fine.
All right.
A fine of not more than $100.
One quick thing that just occurred to me in this conversation. When one of the things that people have told us is that they're aware that there are, for example, dog fighting rings in their neighborhood, but they're afraid to report because they're afraid of retaliation. You can use the Crime Stoppers number for something like that.
Okay.
So and we've actually checked it out with them. So when it's a serious case of something that you know, like an organized dog fighting ring in your neighborhood, you can report it through the Crime Stoppers number.
And that way they won't know who you are, they won't be able to trace it back. Now I wanna take a moment, because while there's some people who are watching this who are sold and understand, now I can call the police, I feel empowered. There are some who are watching and saying, what's the point? And I think for the purpose of being able to educate people who perhaps don't understand why there are laws in place to protect animals from cruelty, let's talk about that. Why should people make the effort to ensure that, one, they themselves are responsible pet owners, and two, that they protect animals from cruelty?
I think there's a couple of different ways to kind of go at the argument. One is that I think there's more and more recognition that animals are living, thinking beings, and that there's an argument that no living being deserves to be abused, mistreated, and so on. So that's certainly part of the argument. But the other part of the argument has to do with what kind of communities we want to live in, what kind of communities we want to show to our children. And there's lots and lots of evidence around that how we treat animals relates to how we treat people. And certainly, especially with children, there's lots of evidence to show that children who learn animal cruelty as children are much, much more likely to be involved in violent offenses as they get older. So there is a connection between kindness to animals and kindness to people, and a reflection of the kinds of communities we want to have. If we become callous to suffering among animals, it's that much easier to become callous to suffering among people. And so if we want to develop communities that are based on kindness, respect, protection of everyone,
Empathetic.
right?
Yeah.
Empathetic, then how we treat animals becomes a part of that picture.
Yeah.
You know, and I think you touched on something I just want to say here. We've actually had psychologists on set who use the example of children being cruel, intentionally cruel to animals as a red flag
Yes.
for potentially dangerous behavior as they grow up.
And likewise, I have taken some scientific approach as to how do animals, or how does dog or cat in particular make someone be more responsible. I have seen many times that I have tell people, you know what, you have this anxiety, you have this anger, but if you get a pet, if you get one little small dog or a little cat, whatever, it helps you to smooth down your attitude and behavior. So through K9 unit, sometimes we try to educate people that are having a pet, and it teach you responsibility. It can also earn you a living. So if you have a cow and you do have in the mingle with more cows, it brings you prosperity. It brings you a better lifestyle home, because you start to get all the things that you wanted.
Yeah.
Even if it's a chicken, whatever the cases might be. So the animals didn't ask to come on this earth, just like a human being. Your child didn't ask to come to this earth. It's your responsibility to maintain a child. And I think there's some part of the Bible say any abomination against any animal, anything that it cannot defend themselves, is abomination against God.
Yeah.
And there's health, and on top of that, there's health and safety issues too.
That's
Yeah.
right.
If you have a community where you have animals roaming who are sick,
Yeah.
who are aggressive,
Yeah.
you know, all of those things, it's just a question of the well-being of our communities on top of everything else. So there's a whole range of reasons why taking care of animals is an important thing, not only for the animals, but for us.
Yeah. And let's be clear, there used to be a shelter in Belize. There's not a shelter anymore. So now you look for persons who foster animals.
Yes, ma'am.
What's been the interest so far? Have you found more people being interested in temporary fostering or adopting animals that have been rescued?
Well, it's certainly increasing, which is good, because the demand, as we were saying before, the demand is increasing at the same time. So we always need more fosters. But we have some really excellent people who come forward and foster animals. Sometimes they become what we call failed fosters, because they foster the animal,
And
fall
then
in
they
love
wanna
with
keep
the
them.
animal, and then keep the animal, which solves the adoption problem at the same time. But there's been an increase in people, for sure, who are willing to come forward and foster and adopt animals. I think more people are realizing how, most of our animals are patlika. We don't have a lot of pure breed animals come in.
Yeah.
And people are realizing that patlikas actually make the best pets. And they're also usually healthier. Because pure breed animals, because they've been inbred, often have certain, different breeds have certain kinds of tendencies to illnesses. So if you have a patlika, you'll have a good pet and a healthier animal.
You have a true Belizean dog.
And a true Belizean
Can eat the
dog.
rice and beans.
We had a dog. People always ask us, what kind of mix is this dog? And the vet will usually tell us, oh, this one looks like it's got some pit in it or whatever. But we took one in the other day, and the vet said, no, this is 100% Belizean patlika.
Too hard to tell. Okay, so let's get to the fundraiser. But I wanted to get that information out, and I know we mentioned it the last time, but it's just to reinforce our responsibility as persons living in this country. And truthfully, I think I'm seeing less stray dogs. I still see stray dogs, but I'm not seeing as many as we used to see before. So hopefully it means that the education is working. Now, there are those persons who love their dogs. They're a part of the family, and this event is really going to appeal to them.
That's the little dachshund we rescued this week.
Oh, it's so cute.
Yeah, he needs a foster home while his leg gets mended.
It doesn't look broken.
We call him, it might be the back one, I think.
Okay.
We call him Prince.
So if you want to foster this, what does fostering mean?
Fostering means you basically take the animal into your home and take care of it.
Yeah.
And in his case, it's a little bit extra because he needs to be on crate rest. We would supply the crate. You see, he's on his little back. We would supply the crate, and it's just basically keeping an eye on him. He won't be a lot of trouble because he won't be running around.
Yeah.
But someone who can just keep an eye on him and make sure he's not moving around too much, so that
Okay.
his leg has the chance to heal.
Okay. So people can contact you if they're interested in fostering,
Yes.
not just that animal, but any animal.
Yes, we have lots of animals on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
This is another little guy. We call him Cesar. I think this is Cesar. He's 2.5 months old. He's got a type of mange that is actually contagious to other animals. So it would need to be, he needs to have a foster who doesn't have other animals.
Yeah.
Once he starts to be on the mend, then the contagious part will leave, and it's not something that is it's difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
He just needs to not be around other animals right now.
Yeah. Oh.
Now, this is a very sad case. This is an animal that we rescued. It was the last day of our clinic. He had been hit by a car, and at first we thought he was going to be fine. He just had a broken leg. But after 48 hours in staying at Animal Medical Center, we realized that, or the vets realized first, that there was no communication between his brain and the bottom half of his body. Probably he had either had a spinal injury, or he had because he got hit by the front, we think, because his front leg was broken, he had some kind of brain damage that signals weren't getting to his back end, and so we had to humanely euthanize him. And everybody was really upset because he was a beautiful, beautiful dog. And it's really just a sign of people who allow their dogs to roam the street, because this was obviously not a stray dog.
Yeah, I don't know.
He had a beautiful coat, he was well fed, but his owners let him roam. And we tried to find the owners when we first got him. So please, please, please keep your dogs in your yard or in your house.
Don't tie them up all day. You don't want that to happen
No, don't
either.
tie them up
Thank
all
you.
day either. That's not a good thing.
You know, Inspector Hamilton, we'll have to get you back one of these days to talk about training them to stay in the yard, because I know that's part of the issue that people have, that their dogs see the gate open and it's a free-for-all.
Yeah.
So we can talk about training for that, but maybe another time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the
Pawty in the park.
So this is a dog show.
It's a dog show. It's a dog show and just a time for the community to come out and celebrate dogs, have a good time.
Yeah.
It's where the dog show is going to start at 2:00. In a minute, I'll let Inspector Hamilton talk a little bit more about the show. There'll be food and drinks. One of our major sponsors is Tito's Handmade Vodka, so there's going to be a dogtail bar with things like the Chihuahua Chaser, the Booze Hound, the Shiatsu Sunrise. So you could come out and try one of those. We're going to have a children's area with games to play and face painting. So it's going to be a really, really fun afternoon. It's at Memorial Park from 2 till 6. Although if you're going to enter your dog in the dog show, we'd like you to have you there by 1:00 to register. So maybe, Brent, you can talk a little bit more about the show itself, because he's our dog show coordinator.
Tell us about the dog show.
Yes.
Now, is it going to be the pretty little dogs like we see on the television that are pouncing around with
we are
trainers?
hoping whoever has well-obedient dog to bring out the obedient dog. The dog show basically is based on different categories, which is best obedient dog, best dog trick, best obstacle, large dog, small dog, best pet licker, best dressed dog, and best of the best. So all the winners from each of those categories will be in one big category to see which dog. How can we judge this dog show?
Yes.
To have this dog show, you must have a licensed instructor, a person that knows how to train a dog. You must have a certified veterinarian.
Yeah.
And we must have a person who is a lover of dog, who has dog all his life, and they can tell you. So you have a mix of different opinion.
Yeah.
There's a score sheet we have. We grade from 1 to 5. 5 is the highest. Of course, I have the criteria that we will go over with the judge, but we don't have enough time to explain that. Well, and then we have me as I'm a master instructor, so I oversee the judge. When the judges they sign off their score sheets, it's final. Yeah. So we will not have a tangle of having no back and forth or
Sorry.
Believe me, that's not the first time we had that joke.
So we will have no
score is
it's final. They have no protest. The way how it's worked, that whenever they finish the score sheet, it goes to the tabulator. The tabulator then shares it with my boss over here on my right. And when my boss say, okay, this is it, then that is it.
So what makes an obedient dog? Let's start there so people can understand.
We could use one. The obedient dog for us is commands.
Okay.
A command must be given to the dog in a short monotone, half to 1 second. So if you tell a dog, sit, I want that dog to respond as you finish the word, sit.
Oh.
If that dog look at you and, what do you mean? How do you go on? So forth, then we know that, hey, you're not very obedient. You're waiting on a correction method to put you down. So if you say sit, if we say heel, if we say lay down, I'm using German term, but it means lay down and stay. So if the handler tell the dog, I don't care in whatever position, and the handler tell the dog, stay! And I want to see the dog stay. If you tell the dog stay and the dog get up and circle around and look at you again and say, then you're going to get less points. So it's easy to grade.
Okay.
That's the police instructor. I just want to see how well disciplined the dog is.
And you're talking basic commands here,
basic
right?
commands.
Things people would do in their home.
Sit down, stay, and that's it.
Okay.
And then we judge the best, but we have a measuring tool that we use, and then it's the command, how quick the dog responds to the command.
Okay. Yeah.
You'll never have a tie. They will have a dog that will do something that is...
Even if they're well trained.
Even if they're well trained.
See, my dog does a great trick. It does that whole look at you. Oh, you want me to do something? Where's the treat?
And I think
That's not on the list.
one of the things that I know why it will be easy to judge is because people do not have their dog being given public demonstration like this in this multitude. When you have dog here, there, that's already a distraction. So while they do it home in their yard, it's easy because that's the environment. Now to take me from out of my house to perform in front of a crowd, I will like, wait, what happened?
Strange smells and...
One of the important criteria, I know Debra have been vexed with me if I don't say this before we go. If you bring your dog on Saturday and our judges cannot touch your dog because your dog is just a mean dog, just weekend, because when you do the best pot liquor, the best dressed dog, largest dog, small dog, we're looking for that. We want to see that they are friendly. They are friendly. The judge, the veterinarian itself, because he's the one that tell me, he's the one that can say this is a pot liquor, or this is a large dog, and then, like for instance, to measure a large dog, we have to use a measuring tape. From the highest point. Okay. And so we have all these things to measure to know what's the large dog, but then it will check out the structure, the attitude of the dog. So if you say my dog is a pit bull, I want to see that uniform in him, that demeanor. I want to see his teeth. We want to see if your dog has his teeth, all his teeth, if his eyes, if he's well taken care, and that's the reason why we have the vet to do that part.
Okay. So this is the second dog show that you're doing, right?
This is really the first one of this size. We've done a few little things at other events, but this is really, at least for many years, I don't want to say ever because Humane Society
I have been in 5 already.
So there have been other, but this is kind of like the first really big event, and of course we're doing it as a fundraiser as well because our vet expenses get pretty high with the number of animals we have through. So yes, it's definitely a fundraiser, but I think it's just going to be really fun as well.
Of course.
The one that I always want to say this, the one that is the category of the best dressed dog. Some people might say, oh, what do they look for, right? Just like Carnival. Simple. The costume must remain on the dog. So we are looking at durability. We don't want when the judge asks you, okay, walk the dog from here to here, and by the time you start to bite his costume, and that's the way we are looking at it.
And that is actually one of the best public appeal categories, the dog show itself, but also the best dressed when you see dogs in their outfits. Maybe there is a carnival costume. Maybe there's like a queen costume that they might come up with. but also the obedience, because it shows how dogs can be
Be
trained,
trained.
Yeah.
and can listen to their owners.
That's right.
And encouraging people to take better care of their animals as well. You also, I'd imagine, have some educational booths.
The booths,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, we'll have our Humane Society booth there that will have lots of information about responsible pet ownership and pet care and all of those things.
Okay, and what else do we need to know about the dog show? Where is it going to be?
Prizes.
It's going, yeah, it's good. Well, first of all, the prizes, we've got great prizes. Reimer's Feeds has given us packages with dog food and dog treats and all kinds of good things. For first, we have first and second place for each one. We have trophies, trophy for first place, and medallion for first place, and a medallion for second place. We have some dog bowls and dog leashes and things like that from Tito's Vodka that they've
Got a
given
lot of
us.
prizes.
And for first place, we also have a gift certificate from Brothers Sabat. So we have lots. It's good prizes. So it's really an incentive for people to bring their dogs out. Plus the bragging rights, of course, of being the winner. So definitely that's something we want people to know about. I'd like to mention our sponsors because
Yes.
that's really important. Tito's Handmade Vodka and the beverage division at Carl H. Menzies has been our major sponsor. Also Reimer's Feeds in terms of providing prizes, Belize City Council, Habat and Habat, especially the special event rentals, Animal Medical Center, Brothers Habat, William Kwan and Company, Belize Electricity Limited, Graphics, Mikado Store, and we're hoping to get a few more by the end of the week. So we've really had a lot of support for the show.
Yeah.
People can get the rules for the dog show. They can go to our Facebook page, Belize Humane Society, and they can get the rules there. Or you can pick up the rules at Reimer's, Animal Medical Center, the beverage division at Carl H. Menzies, Eye Candy, William Kwan, and Brothers Habat all have copies that you can stop by and pick up.
Now, this is a fundraiser, so how do you generate your funds? Do people have to pay to go into the...
No, there's no actual cost to
Entrance
come
fee.
in. We're going to probably pass the bucket during it because there is no entrance fee. It's kind of hard in a park to have
Yeah.
an entrance fee. So we'll have people going around soliciting donations, and we hope people will give generously. We'll be selling food, of course, and that's and also the dog show bar. The proceeds from that will come to us as well, and we'll be selling T-shirts and other kinds of doggy items and kitty items too. A few things.
And just because you're there, we are raffling a nice basket that values $100 of dog treats coming straight from the police department.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. I forgot one of our main sponsors, which is the Canine Unit of the Belize Police Department, headed by Inspector Hamilton. Sorry.
That's okay, man. That's what
There you go. So there are raffles, there are prizes for the dog show, there's food, there's the drink stall, there'll be food available.
Yes.
You'll be able to drop off that donation for the Humane Society, and you get to be a part of a great show.
And children's area with games and face painting.
And we have security, we have police out there just to...
And canine dogs?
Have the canines. We are doing a canine demonstration also.
Can we touch the canine dogs at the dog show?
Well, that depends on the canine. It's not something that we do. I'll give you the reason why. 10 years ago, because of people wants to get their drugs up to another destination, they had to put stuff on their hands and put that your dog nose, cause the dog to go into a seizure, different things. So you'll find canine, service canine officers will, no. You know.
Yeah, I found that. But they're always, because they're so obedient, they look so cute. But of course, we have definitely offered everybody all the incentive that they need to come out to the event. It starts at 2 p.m. this Saturday at the Memorial Park in Belize City. 1, if you want to register your dog for the dog show.
1 o'clock for
and
registration.
And you can get all the rules and all the details on the Belize Humane Society Facebook page.
And we are only operating on half of the park, so we'll be at the stage area of the Memorial Park,
okay,
where we'll be setting up just so that people know.
Thank you both for coming in and sharing all this information.
Thank you, and I hope we'll see you on Saturday.
I hope to be there. Not with an obedient dog.
Okay.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take that final break now, and when we come back, we'll have our wrap up, so stay tuned.